It's not the first time I've had to do this. It will not be the last.
Welcome back to Game Crunch, everyone. Keeping up to date with the latest in the video game world. Hope all my American friends had a great Thanksgiving weekend, and hopefully you picked up some good Black Friday video game deals. I know I got a couple myself, so I picked up the Tomb Raider trilogy, which I just started playing last night. Anyway, we got a couple really good stories we're going to have to talk about today, including Riot Games. So if you don't know who that is, they're the maker of League of Legends and Valorant. Well, they seem to have looted a new banhammer with a much bigger stats, and now they're using it in a very interesting way. We'll get into more details on that in a minute. And then on top of that, we just had a interesting interview with the CEO of Koei Techmo about the development of the Nioh franchise and why it ended up taking about 12 or 13 years. More details on that in a second. But of course, if you'd like to stay up to date with the latest in the video game world, give Game Crunch a subscribe, really helps the channel grow. And if you find this information helpful or interesting, give the video a like, and let's just get right into it. Now first up, Riot Games is really tightening its grip on community behavior. Starting January 3rd, content creators who violate Riot's terms of service, even outside of their games, can face account bans. This means if someone streams a Riot game and uses offensive language, even if it's not directed at other players, could lose their Riot account or partner program privileges. Riot's updated off-platform conduct standard aims to reduce toxicity around their games. While Riot won't actively monitor all social media, they'll act on reported violations that break their terms. This is a bold move to ensure creators represent the community in a positive light. So let me know what you think down below. Is Riot stepping up to improve the gaming space, or is this a step too far? So to me, this is very much an overstep of her power and responsibility. And why does this video kind of give off vibes like we're getting in trouble from the principal? I'm going to play a clip here for you in a second, but she really goes on to talk about how she feels like it's her responsibility to really police the community, like in and out of game, which I thought was very strange.
Hey everyone, I'm Anna and I'm the studio head for Valorant, and I'm here to chat a bit about player behavior in the game. It's not the first time I've had to do this. It will not be the last. The responsibility of protecting our community of Valorant players is one I take very personally, and I can tell you that very often it can feel like I've failed in that responsibility. But at the end of the day, there are still some people in this world who want to take out their insecurity or their bad day or their hate or their whatever on some stranger through their computer screen. When you tell someone to just mute comms to avoid harassment, you are essentially putting the harassed person in a position to not communicate, to compromise how they want to play the game, to accommodate you. If you need to make truly evil statements under the guise of regular shit talk to enjoy gaming, then please play something else. We won't miss you.
Now we know League of Legends in general is known for its toxicity, but this seems like very much an overstep of what they should be policing. And the one thing that really bothered me, which I mentioned earlier, is how they're not currently monitoring all forms of social media. So does this mean if you post a meme or a video or something at some point that they might think is offensive or they just don't agree with, they're just going to outright ban your Riot account just because they're policing you outside of the game? See what I mean? But anyway, let me know what you think down below. Now, let's talk about Nioh. So did you know this action RPG from Team Ninja took 12 years to make? Koei Techmo CEO Yoichi Arakawa recently admitted that he's the reason for the game's lengthy development. Nioh was originally announced back in 2004 as Oni and went through 3 major overhauls. Arakawa said, "If I were anyone else, I would have been fired." The game shifted from a traditional RPG by Koei to an action RPG by Omega Force and finally went to Team Ninja's Ninja Gaiden style action game. Arakawa described the game as a self-indulgent project, but said the delays were worth it to create a title that blended Koei's historical expertise with Tecmo's action prowess. By 2022, the Nioh franchise, including Nioh 2 and remasters, has sold over 7 million units worldwide. While Nioh turned out to be quite a masterpiece, it's clear Arakawa's perfectionism shaped its long road to release. So would you wait for over a decade for your dream game, or is that a little bit too much? I mean, at this point, I feel like we're kind of getting used to it. So it's funny that he says, if this was anybody else, I definitely would have fired you. But I guess that's kind of like the privilege you have when you're the boss, is you can kind of just get away with stuff. But that's wild. I didn't know they scrapped the game 2 other times before, like the third iteration was the one that they decided that they were actually going to go with. Now, one thing that crossed my mind as well, 7 million copies sold. I really hope that that made up for all of that development time. But that's all I've got for you today. So, of course, let me know down in the comments what you think of this whole Riot Games policing League of Legends and Valorant, even outside of what you're doing in the game and your stream, and how maybe even in the future, maybe they'll start policing your Twitter and your Facebook and your TikTok as well. Who knows? They didn't really make it clear. They said, currently, we're not monitoring all forms of social media. Seems a little crazy. And this lady, to me, was kind of giving off like principal, like Karen vibes the whole time.
It's not the first time I've had to do this. It will not be the last.
And then let me know what you think. Have you played Nioh? Did you like Nioh? Would you wait another 10 years for another game in the Nioh franchise? And I want to thank you guys all for tuning in for another episode of Game Crunch. I'm going to put a video over here if you missed Friday's news and another one over here. And I'll see you tomorrow.